Welcome to this Sunday service with the Eno River Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We're here in Durham, North Carolina, and I'm Reverend Deborah Cayer, and whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever your race, your gender, whomever you love, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, welcome. If you're visiting today, you can find out more about us online or through the link in the chat box that should be on your screen in just a minute. We invite everyone to a virtual coffee hour directly after this service. Information will appear on your screen to tell you how to get there at the end of the service. Like most other congregations in Durham, we are going to stay online for a while. Check our website and weekly e-news for information, or you can contact our office. I want to just mention that ERUUF's board and coordinating team are working together to create plans for the safe, eventual, and gradual return to our campus. Our board chair, Bonnie LaCroix, is taking part in the service this morning, and she will have updates to share with all of us. Reverend Stacy Grove is also part of this morning's service. We all want to thank you for your patience and good humor as we work out occasional technical challenges. May there be none this morning. I want to thank ERUUF's flower team for making sure that there have been beautiful flowers every week that we've been online. Earlier this spring, someone made a very significant contribution so that our community, our whole community, would have beauty every week in the midst of chaos. And I'm very grateful that the flower team has made their caring so evident in this way. Thank you. This morning's music is a gift that was created by Jocelyn Neal and members of the Eno River Singers Ensemble. Kate Lewis is on the piano. And so now let's just take a breath together and center ourselves. And we're going to continue our service with the Prelude. The Prelude is the song One Voice. It was written and composed by Ruth Moody, who's a member of the Wayland Jennies. And so this morning, Bonnie and I have the opening words, and Stacy has the chalice lighting. These words are by Angela Herrera. She says, don't leave your broken heart at the door. Bring it to the altar of life.
Don't leave your anger behind. It has high standards, and the world needs this vision.
Bring these things with you, and your joy, and your passion.
Bring your loving, and your courage, and your conviction. Bring your need for healing and your powers to heal.
There is work to do, and you have all that you need within yourself, within this beloved community.
We light our chalice, a small spark in a large universe that's sometimes brutal and overwhelming. And still, there is light. Our light, and it shines brightly within us, even from the darkness of suffering. A reminder that there is a love that lives within us and among us. The power of love is greater than fear, greater than evil. Therefore, may this light encourage us to move forward in the ways of love. Our first hymn this morning is Healing Circle.
This is where we begin. The This morning, we are recognizing an important moment. Our high school seniors have made the significant journey through childhood and adolescence and are now crossing a threshold, a bridge into young adulthood. In our UU tradition, when babies are dedicated in a worship service, we give them a rose, usually one that's tightly closed. The rosebud is a symbol of the potential that we see in the child, and we speak of our love and commitment to them. We carefully take off all the sharp thorns because it is our job to protect and guide ERUUF's children and youth.
As Bridging Youth, we have delivered you a rose because more than ever, we see and affirm your potential. As a new adult, we give you a rose with thorns because life is like that, full of beauty and also sharp edges, things for which we have to be careful. We love you all, and it's scary to send amazing young people that we love so much out into the world, into a new place, into the unknown. We know you will in time have lots of people who love you out there too, and we trust that you are well prepared and ready. We are giving you this rose with thorns because now, after all the time you spent with your family and in school, in religious education classes, coming of age, in youth groups, we know you can handle this.
Adele Wire-Getty, Jane Sluntz Kessler, Emma Terry Edmonds, Jake Terry Edmonds, Emerson Emmy Atkins Piercy, Emilia Gray, Katrina Schleikat. We welcome you into the adult congregation, and we send our greatest blessings to you for the years ahead. And now some of our seniors will share where they are headed and what they are taking with them from ERUUF.
ERUUF is more than a place to me. It's a place where you can bond with people, express your hopes and fears, and truly embrace who you are, regardless of race, gender, or sexuality. ERUUF has taught me to expand my horizons and stop being so self-centered all the time. Not to mention they have tasty food there, too.
Hey, my name's Jane. I'm a senior graduating this year. And I've been going to ERUUF for my entire life, from baby to RE to middle school youth group to high school youth group, coming of age, everything. And it's been a huge part of my identity. I could not possibly separate myself from my values, which I believe I would not have had without, or been able to identify for myself and think about what is truly important to me if I had not gone to ERUUF and had this incredible community. As we all know, the basis of what makes ERUUF such a special place is the people, and being around people who are inspiring just by being there and just by being in their presence, feeling the energy of these incredible people, gives me the idea of who I want to be in my life every single day. So that's been so impactful, and having these people as mentors, getting to talk to them every week, seeing their face and feeling their incredible energy, has been so valuable. So thank you, ERUUF. I love you all.
Hi, my name is Jake Terry Edmonds.
And my name is Emma Terry Edmonds.
And we have both been a part of ERUUF for our entire lives, from doing RE for as long as you can remember, through high school youth group and coming of age. ERUUF has really helped mature both of us and help us grow. It has helped us become better people and to love and accept those around us.
We think it's really special to find a faith community that truly welcomes everyone, and not only welcomes everyone, but also protects everyone and fights for everyone, and is willing to have the hard conversations that are needed for justice and progress. We are both truly proud to be part of the ERUUF community, and we just want to say thank you to ERUUF for the ways that you have shaped our lives.
Hey guys, my name is Emilia. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a part of the graduating class of 2020. So what does ERUUF mean to me? Well, I have been going here for 18 years, which is like my entire life, which is very, very crazy and cool. And that just means like I've been fortunate enough to be a part of the community for so long and like grow up surrounded by people who share the same beliefs as I do. Sorry, my cameraman's trying to like switch an ant. I also feel feel like, especially because of things like coming of age and like even OWL, I've been able to like cultivate and like learn about and live my values, and I believe that's been like making me a better friend and family member, which I'm really thankful for. Mostly like certain experiences that I've gained through like going to ERUUF, like teaching the 3 and 4 year olds and like all of the various lock-ins and stuff, I think have just really made it easier for me to live my values in my day-to-day life, and I've really helped like grow and strengthen like that part of me. So yeah.
Hi, my name is Katrina Schleichott. I've been at ERUUF since I was really small. Next year, I'll be leaving and attending South Carolina Honors College. Looking back on my time here, I know I'm going to miss this place, and I'm extremely grateful for the journey I've taken. My sophomore year was the year of a big shift in my relationship with ERUUF. Because I was attending coming of age and youth group, a large amount of my free time on weekends was spent there. I began to see it with new eyes. This wasn't just a hippie church. It was a place where strong, compassionate people came to talk about how to make the world better and how to be better people. I realized that if I put all of my effort into coming of age, I would be rewarded. And I was. I transformed from a follower to an independent thinker, and I learned how to speak up in groups and that my voice was important. Going through coming of age helped me find my core values, which made me so much more confident everywhere I went. I didn't have to search for approval anymore because I had my own approval. Speaking up in groups became second nature, and I even worked on a team to plan for youth programming my junior year. Doing this helped my collaborative skills and show me how to work for what I wanted. Now, as a senior, I'm so glad that I realized what a special place this is. I know I wouldn't be as sure of myself, compassionate, or open-minded if I hadn't stayed at ERUUF. I also know I wouldn't be this happy, and I would have missed out on a lot of amazing relationships and friendships. I have so much appreciation in my heart for all of you guys. I'm going to miss you guys so much, and I will definitely be visiting. Thank you for everything.
Today, we also have another gift for you. We give you a special chalice of your own to remind you of the beautiful bright light from ERUUF's own chalice. Many of us here have chalices at home that we like to find support, comfort, and connection to this larger faith and each other. It has been an honor this year to serve as your youth ministry coordinator. Watching you all grow into the wonderful young people that you are makes me so very proud. Congratulations to our high school seniors. We hope these gifts will support you as you continue your journey through life and remind you of your connection to all of us at ERUUF.
Whenever you want to, if you ever need to, this community and our larger Unitarian Universalist tradition will be here for you. As you cross this bridge in time between one part of your life and the great, exciting, unknown next part, we're here with you. We love you. We believe in you. We hope that Unitarian Universalism will always be your spiritual home, and that wherever you go, you know that you can always come home to ERUUF. Go in peace, go in faith, go in love to become ever more your true self so that you can make a positive difference in the world. And now we have Julia leading us in Go Now in Peace. One last time, seniors, go now in peace.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Good morning. My name is Bonnie LaCroix, and I am the current chair of the Board of Trustees. I am here this morning to share with you the process that the board and senior staff are undertaking to determine steps towards potential reopening of some parts of campus for use. And first, I wanted to take a moment to address the pain and unrest in the hearts and streets of America. It feels like there is a cacophony of tragedy and imminent need in the world today. News related to the coronavirus held my attention for weeks and then months as we struggled to get a handle on infections across the country. We were all affected, and in such different ways, feeling stuck at home, isolated and alone, or never alone, and overwhelmed with childcare on top of work responsibilities, struggling after losing a job, or still required to show up to work in a newly more dangerous world as we redefined essential workers. Feeling insulated and like the news cycle is some far off movie, or living in a community hard hit by the virus, losing loved ones and fearing the loss or sickness of others and ourselves. And then came the murder of George Floyd by a Minneapolis police officer while 3 others stood by and let him. Another name to add to the already too long list of names that we speak in remembrance and mourning. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. Another example of a Black person who had their life taken from them as punishment for their existence. His story was all too familiar, and somehow it was different. Something about the obvious and undefendable nature of his murder at the hands of an unflinching, unanxious police officer caught on camera for all to see. Those 8 minutes and 46 seconds of complete disdain for Black life. It sparked something, like a flame set to kindling, and protest erupted around the country and then the world. Black Lives Matter, a rallying cry for justice. Black Lives Matter, a truth of humanity. Black Lives Matter, a call to action. Say it with me. Black Lives Matter. I know ERUUF as a justice-centered organization. We ground our work in spirit, service, justice, and love. As the ERUUF Board of Trustees continues its work through these troubled times, we lean on these pillars for support. And underneath this great cacophony, we wrestle with how we can attend to the need we have to be together in our pain and our joy, how we can come back to the home of our spiritual community, and the mundanity of tasks like determining policy for if and how we can return to campus. It feels both so ineloquent and necessary to talk about these details in the midst of this great suffering, so here we are. I am glad that we are here together. I want to make clear that we understand that returning to campus is an issue which brings up a lot of feelings for many people. And it is another opportunity for us to center the needs of the most marginalized and most vulnerable in our community. We take very seriously the responsibility of reopening slowly and safely within our organizational capacity and in response to both member needs and the most current scientific knowledge. Senior staff and the board are closely monitoring public health and safety information and guidelines, as well as safe gathering guidance from many faith traditions and the Center for Disease Control. We are also committed to including as many members as possible in discussions around our communal and individual needs in regards to reopening. There's been an amazing response so far to the survey which we sent out, which you can find in last week's e-news if you'd still like to complete it. And we are deepening that conversation through listening sessions this afternoon at 1 p.m. and tomorrow, Monday, June 8th at 7 p.m. If you would like to join with other community members in expressing your feelings and needs related to reopening, we encourage you to join us at one of those meetings. We highly encourage voices from all demographics and communities to join us, including and especially people who are experiencing unique challenges related to COVID-19, including people of color and parents of school-aged children, as these groups are the least represented in our discussions so far. One of the great challenges of going virtual is ensuring that we can continue to reach our members who may not be able to join us on video with Zoom for whatever reason. So I want to be sure to lift up the option to call in by phone to these meetings if that will enable your attendance. You can find the information on the event pages on the ERUUF website. I also want to make clear that unlike the state of North Carolina or the city of Durham or a large organization like Duke, we will not be able to define a phased schedule for reopening with expected dates and benchmarks for moving forward. Instead, we will need to act slowly and carefully in response to emerging information, as well as our changing capacity for things like staffing and appropriate cleaning and disinfection, to gradually shift our operations. And it may not be a linear process. I understand this might be frustrating because it's difficult to make plans looking into the future. And I humbly ask that we try and remain focused on the blessings found in the ways in which we can be together in community and the care we are taking for those of us who are most vulnerable. So if you can, please engage with the listening sessions, as well as our upcoming budget forums in mid-June and the annual meeting being held virtually this year on June 28th. I believe that if we do this together, with our values informing our actions, that we can do this well. Thank you all for your continued commitment to safety, to justice, and to this community.
I'm very grateful to Bonnie for making the time and for just being the leader that she is and for sharing those thoughts with us. Thank you, Bonnie. My husband and I were eager to go to the vigil for George Floyd last Thursday in Durham. We landed in a place by chance with a whole lot of other ERUUFians, just by chance. We've seen each other online a lot, and it would have been so sweet to see each other in person under other circumstances. But we were there as witnesses to a murder and all that atrocity has shown us about our society. And the mood was serious as we focused on the organizers and what they had planned. Now, the organizers were teens and young adults, and it was wonderful because people that age can be very clear about what they think is right and wrong. And then in this moment, that was exactly what was called for. Also, these young people had a commanding grasp of race and racism and power dynamics. They were a diverse leadership team, and they were comfortable navigating those spaces in public, transparently. They were clearly against systems of white supremacy that make it possible to murder people of color with impunity. And they were clearly for other important things like justice and love. important things that are so much bigger than anger and fear. They wanted a world that is fair and equitable and inclusive, and that's how they acted. Now, usually when I'm in this kind of a gathering, I can feel my spirit lift and begin to take off. But as the very beautiful, very diverse crowd grew and the very together young people spoke, instead, I began to feel myself spiraling down. I wasn't angry at anyone around me. I was angry at some politicians, but much more than this, I was angry at something indistinct and very diffuse and fuzzy. I could not see it clearly to name it or analyze it, or I couldn't figure out anything about it to start to even think about what to do. And very quickly, my very foggy anger got hold of me, and it put me in a headlock, and it dragged me into a tight, isolated, airless place right there in the middle of all those people. And suddenly there was nothing creative or loving that I could get hold of in myself, for me, or for anyone else. I got caught that evening, but these things happen to each of us. Samsara. The Buddhist word is samsara. It's called the wheel of suffering. All beings want to be happy, the Buddha taught. And what he meant by this is that the conditions that support happiness, love, balance, harmony, generosity, respect, kindness, these are the things in us that keep us connected to our true essential nature. We get distracted from these things, and we get distracted from our true nature by illusion. And this causes us to fall into samsara, to fall into this wheel of suffering. And so the purpose of all Buddhist practice is to end needless suffering and ultimately to liberate ourselves from the endless turning of this wheel of sorrow. Well, I got caught last Thursday. And I think earlier this year, all of us got caught a little bit when our lives were completely suspended by the coronavirus. We've also been drawn onto the wheel of suffering as more of us have begun to recognize the horror of white supremacy that we have been living with for centuries. Buddhism is not a la-di-da philosophy that justifies skipping away from suffering. In fact, it's exactly the opposite. Like any other religion, Buddhism is about recognizing truth and acting with love and kindness. It's about turning towards suffering with compassion whenever you encounter it, wherever you encounter it. Engaged Buddhism empowers us to perform small acts of loving kindness so that we can find our way back to our true nature, which is love and an inner state of ultimate peace. And when you're there, these qualities move out from you to the world around you. It can be a long, long way from samsara to a true state of peace, but it's entirely possible. It is so good to live out of this open, generative, creative state all the time. It's especially important that we live from there when we're trying to figure out how to do something new in the world, like figure out an economy that's based on equity instead of exploitation, or when we're dismantling white supremacy. Compassion is an aspect of love. And yet sometimes people fear that this is a detour, a needless diversion from the serious, muscular work of justice. They fear that compassion is weakness and that practicing kindness will put them in a position where they'll be quickly overpowered and defeated or just sidelined. The meditation teacher, Sharon Salzberg, points out that this is one of the myths of our culture, that love is weak. She points out that it takes tremendous courage and strength to practice compassion, which is hardly weakness. Compassion is not about sticking your head in the sand and checking out. Compassion is not about being so nice that you're a pushover. Compassion is closely aligned with standing in your truth and claiming your moral power, which is a very different kind of power than power over. And this power of compassion has been known to topple empires when it's been applied with steady determination over time by communities of people, not individuals, communities. The Dalai Lama is the head of one major strand of Buddhism. The Dalai Lama believes that the world can be transformed by the cultivation of love and patience, tolerance, forgiveness, a sense of responsibility, and harmony, and especially compassion. He writes, "This then is my true religion, my simple faith. Our own heart, our own mind is the temple. The doctrine is compassion. Love for others and respect for their rights and dignities, no matter who or what they are. Ultimately, these are all we need." The Dalai Lama. Others also recognize the importance of compassion. In Hebrew, the singular word for compassion also means womb, and it appears frequently as a description of God, usually translated as merciful. So in the Hebrew Bible, mercy or compassion is one of God's essential attributes. And as we take this on, as we practice mercy and compassion, we become closer to God. In Christianity, in the Gospel of Luke, Christians are reminded to love your enemies, do good to them, be compassionate, just as God is compassionate. And again, there's this sense that when we practice compassion, we're acting in the best, most sacred way possible. The expectation is that this will lead to good things for the community as well. And so in all of these religions, we can see that compassion is key to living in a state of peace and harmony. And when any disaster completely upends our lives, compassion can help us get back into harmony, not with what was, but with what yet could be. All of the teachers and all of the traditions tell us to begin with ourselves. And so this morning, I want to say, if you are a person of color, especially if you're Black, compassion, caring for yourself is absolutely essential. Ruth King is an African-American Buddhist meditation teacher, and she points out that without self-compassion, it is almost impossible for anyone who has experienced oppression to not get caught in an endless feedback loop of rage and defeat that ultimately adds to your own suffering. She says the way to begin to make some space and to find inner freedom is to begin inside yourself with the practice of compassion. And then, as Audre Lorde said, our feelings and the honest exploration of them become sanctuaries and spawning grounds for the most radical and daring of ideas. Audre Lorde. We can trust ourselves when we're deeply rooted in compassionate love and justice. If you are a white person whose life is totally embedded and shaped by the dominant culture, compassion is also essential for you as you engage the work of dismantling white supremacy. Our culture has been built on slavery and genocide, and in order to participate in the practice of those things, a person has to cut off their essential capacity for compassion. You cannot harm another person in all the ways that you have to harm them, body, mind, and spirit, in order for slavery to work. On the other hand, it is not possible to harm another person so gravely when your natural affinity for love and fairness are flowing freely within you. witnessing emotional, psychological, and physical violence can shut off your inner capacity for love and fairness. And then it teaches you to do that to yourself, to shut off that flow of love, that capacity for compassion and empathy. You shut it off yourself. And when you do this, it harms you too, and it harms everyone around you. And then we find ourselves suddenly living in the midst of systems of disconnection and states of dis-ease and disease, illness. So as we wake up and we seek to change, if the strategies that we use are only rooted in this sense of disconnection and disease, they are going to fail to support us for the long haul. Shallow practice can't take us to the depth that we need to get to in order to get at the murderous roots of our culture and change them. The kind of real, deep change we need can only be found in our essential nature, the sacred, however we each understand it, by whatever the name we call it, or if, like the Dalai Lama, we don't call it by any name, but simply accept responsibility for our behavior and for acting ethically in right relationship with all people, with all of nature. After the prayer, we will come back to a practice, a guided meditation that might help us get in touch with the radical roots of our compassion and love for justice, equity, and inclusion. And now Stacy has the meditation for us.
Please join me in a spirit of meditation and prayer. Allowing your eyes to soften as you focus on your breath. Breathing in the breath of life. And let us be still for a moment. We hold in our hearts this day all who are weary in mind, body, and spirit. People living in fear and uncertainty. The collective grief is palpable. Amidst global pandemic, thousands gather throughout our nation and the world as peaceful protesting for justice continues. Yes, Black lives matter. We seek healing prayers this morning for Christy Mather, who last week was struck by a car. She's recovering at home and doing okay with a broken leg and a strong neighborhood support. There are others unnamed in our community that we hold in our hearts. Spirit of life and love, we live in a fragmented world that tempts us to despair. We would put it back together piece by piece if it were ours to choose. But sometimes the fragments are enough. In a world of cruelty, there is still power in every act of kindness. In a time of doubt, there is still power in every act of hope. In an age of division, there is still power in every act of unity. May we remember that sometimes the fragments of meaning we make are just the right size to hold in our hands. May it be so. Ashe. Amen.
Love will guide us. It's not sentimental. One of the most radical ways we can support the work of justice is to open a connection in ourself to our essential Buddha nature, our essential nature of love and compassion. This is the source of justice and peace for us and for everyone else. And so tending and caring for this deep well within each of us is essential. This guided meditation by Christina Feldman, who is a meditation teacher, can help us connect with our natural capacity for compassion and love and justice. And so Christina invites us, and I invite us, to find a posture in which you can relax and be still. Take a few moments to focus on your body, consciously softening any areas where you might be holding tension. Take a few slightly fuller breaths, and with each out breath, allow your mind and your body to increasingly relax and soften. And with each out breath, release any agitation within your mind. Allow your attention to settle fully within your body and your breath. And now take a few moments to be aware of the life of your body, how it has been in the past, how it is now in the present, and how it may be in the future. Sense how your body holds all the seasons of life: birth, aging, and death. Reflect on the joy and the delight you have found within and through your body. Reflect too on the pain, the frailty and illness that is also part of your body's life. Take a moment to reflect on the painfulness of fear, resistance, and blame that you can bring to your body as it goes through changes. As you open to the life of your body, sense how you are connecting with the life in all bodies. Sense whether it is possible to hold the pain, frailty, and aging of your body within a compassionate attention that is free of blame and rejection. Is there any area of your body that is painful or ill at this moment? If so, bring your attention directly to that place of pain without demand and without fear. Offer your body the compassion that can embrace all struggle and all suffering. And you can repeat this mantra to yourself. May I find healing. May I find peace. May I find openness of heart. As you are present, allow the stories of your body, your fears of the future to soften and be still. Sense any waves of resistance or aversion for your body that appear. Let them too be held within compassionate attention, rejecting nothing, embracing your body and your relationship to your body with an unconditional tenderness and care. May I find stillness within change. May I find the acceptance that allows me to be present in this body. May my body be at peace. Allow your attention to expand to embrace the life of your mind in all the ways you experience it. The times of confusion and chaos, the moments of stillness and calm, the times of obsession and anxiety, the moments of ease and wisdom. Let them all be held within a compassionate attention. Sense the moments when your mind seems to be lost within cascades of judgment and blame. Sense too the moments when your mind is an ally and it is a refuge. Release the blame, the insistence, the demand that you place upon your mind. Sense deeply the great pain and sorrow of a mind not at ease with itself, the torment of being lost in confusion. Offer to yourself the compassionate attention that rejects nothing, that is free of blame, the compassion that can receive all sorrow. May my mind find peace. May my mind be at ease. May my mind be safe and protected. And then allow your attention to expand, to embrace the life of your heart, your emotional center. Reflect on the boundless sorrow you can feel in your heart, the world of loneliness, fear, grief, rage, jealousy, loss, and mistrust. Sense too the moments of joy your heart delights in, intimacy, love, tenderness, appreciation, generosity. Be aware of the need to bring compassion into all the moments of turmoil and darkness that your heart can hold. Offer to yourself, bring into your heart the compassion that has no boundaries, that can embrace all sorrow. May I find healing. May I find the willingness to embrace all pain. May I find peace in all moments. Moment by moment, open into the places you are prone to flee from or deny within your own body, mind, and heart. Receive the life you are living with a heart of compassion. Soften into the healing that is possible in this moment. Rest in a compassion boundless enough to embrace all sorrow. And as you feel ready, I invite you to bring your attention back, to expand your focus outside yourself. When our hearts are opened by compassion, we naturally fill with a larger love. This power is transformative. When we connect with this love, we're better able to listen to other people's truth without judgment. We are better able to connect and work together. We're better able to strategize and carry out plans for change. And when we do this, it attracts others and people are drawn to what we're doing because love and compassion feel better in our bodies then hatred and fear, division, strife, love and compassion feel better. Compassion is not a distraction. It's not a detour. It's not a trap. Compassion attracts at a depth that can hold us steady for the long haul. It can help us connect with the energy and the power of love for the movement that will go far beyond the moment. May it be so. Blessed be. Ashe. Amen. We have many practices for getting over ourselves, for transcending the narrow limits of our own perspective, of our own wants. One of those practices is being generous to other people with our time and our talent, and with our love and our service, and also with our treasure. I want to thank everyone who has been so generous this spring. Our minister's discretionary fund is quite abundantly full. Thank you so much. Right now, we have more than enough to meet needs. But at this time of our offertory, if you would like to make a donation to the regular congregation, you can do so through the link in the chat box. We'll hear now the song, "We'll Build a Land."
Oftentimes I dream of music, of the river that freely flows, and it sings a song sweeter than honey, one everybody knows. Late at night I hear it singing, and again when I wake at dawn, and it fills me up with hope and goodwill, the will to go on, go on. There is a river in Judea that I heard long ago, and it's a singing great river that my soul cries out to know. I believe it keeps on traveling, but it rests on the Sabbath day, and the time when it will
What a beautiful song. I'm sorry I gave you the wrong attribution. That was River in Judea, a favorite of our choir and many of us as well. Those beautiful pictures interspersed were of our own Eno River, thanks to Jocelyn and hikes that she went on in the past few weeks. Our closing words this morning with gratitude for all that weave our beloved community together. Our closing words come from Bill Sinkford, former Unitarian Universalist Association president. Bill says, "We are a gentle and generous people, but let us not forget our anger. May it fuel not only our commitment to compassion, but also our commitment to make fundamental changes. Our vision of the beloved community must stand against a vision that would allow the privilege of the few to be accepted as just and even holy. Our religious vision must again and again ask, who is my neighbor? And strive always to include more and more of us." Amen. We're going to go in peace in just a moment, but this last piece is from the choir. It's a special offering. This is a song called "We'll Meet Again." It was a song that was popular in the late 1930s, and it's been a song this spring that has been commemorating the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II in Europe, those great battles there against authoritarianism. This song has resonated with the choir, not only in this time of social distancing, but also as we ache, as we wake up to white supremacy and we mourn the racist murders of fellow Black citizens. So this tune is an old one, but it's a reminder that our ongoing struggle for justice and love is a long one, and that we are in this struggle for as long as it takes. Go in love, go in peace. Go do this work.
We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know the day.